Welcome back, everyone. Ready to dive into something pretty cool today.
Absolutely.
We're taking a deep dive into the world of Group S racing right here in Australia. Think classic sports cars.
Yeah, from the 50s, 60s, and 70s.
Oh, the golden age of motorsport.
Exactly. Mildly modified for racing, but still retaining that classic charm.
And get this, the grids, sometimes up to 55 cars. It's a sight to behold.
It's truly a spectacle, a blast from the past. And what I find really fascinating about Group S is its accessibility.
Accessibility. How so?
Well, unlike other historic racing categories, you don't need a car with a proven racing history to participate.
That opens up the field quite a bit, doesn't
It
it?
does. It means a wide variety of cars can get involved.
So it's not just a bunch of super rare, expensive vintage racers out there.
Not at all. You might see a Porsche 911 battling it out with a Datsun 240Z.
Now that's what I call diversity. Okay, so let's say I have a classic sports car sitting in my garage.
Lucky you.
And I'm thinking, I want a piece of this Group S action. What's my first step?
First things first, the logbook. It's like your car's racing resume.
Makes sense. Proof that it fits the bill.
Exactly. You need to make sure it meets all the specific requirements for Group S.
So there's some paperwork involved.
Hmm.
Not as simple as just showing up with my dad's old Triumph and hoping for the best.
Huh. I wish it were that simple.
Hmm?
There's a process, and it all starts with getting that logbook in order.
Walk me through it. What do I need to do?
So you'll gather all the necessary documents, things like proof of ownership, detailed photos of the car, and any modifications you've made.
Sounds pretty thorough.
It is. And once you've got all that together, your car will undergo a real inspection.
Inspection? By whom?
A historic eligibility officer.
Oh, sounds official.
They're the guardians of the Group S regulations. They'll make sure your car is up to snuff, meeting all the criteria.
That sounds a bit nerve-wracking.
It can be, but it's all part of ensuring fairness and safety for everyone.
Okay, so inspection passed, logbook sorted. What's next?
Well, you can't race without a license, right?
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So how do I get my racing license?
You'll need to become a member of a Motorsport Australia affiliated club.
So there's a community aspect to this.
Oh, absolutely. It's not just about racing, it's about being part of a passionate group of enthusiasts.
I like that. So which club should I join?
Well, the Group S Racing Association is a good place to start.
All right, join the club. Now what?
Next comes the medical assessment. Got to make sure you're fit to race.
Can't have people dropping out mid-race.
Exactly. Then there are some online tests you'll need to pass, basic racing knowledge, rules, and procedures.
Sounds like a good foundation.
And then comes the big one, the Observed License Test. We call it the OLT.
The OLT. Sounds intense. What is it exactly?
Think of it as your final exam.
Huh.
A full day at the track, putting your skills to the test under the watchful eyes of instructors.
Gulp. And if I pass, do I get my full racing license?
Not quite. You get what's called a provisional license.
Provisional. Like a learner's permit for racing.
Pretty much. You'll sport those iconic P plates on your classic car for your first 5 race meetings.
So you're kind of on probation.
You could say that, but hey, it adds to the excitement, right?
I guess it does. A rite of passage for any aspiring racer. So, car prepped, logbook sorted, provisional license in hand. What's next? Safety gear.
You got it. Safety is paramount in motorsport. No compromises there.
Okay, what do I need?
Your guide is the Motorsport Australia Manual. It's the Bible for safety equipment and
I
procedures.
bet that's a thick manual.
It is. For Group S, you'll want to pay close attention to schedules A, C, I, J, H, and D.
Wow, that's a lot of schedules. What do they cover?
Everything, from general requirements for all racing cars in Australia to those specific allowances for historic vehicles like the ones in Group S.
Okay, so where should I start? What are the most important pieces of safety gear?
Well, Schedule J covers roll cages. They're essential.
Roll cage. That's the metal frame inside the car, right?
Yep. Think of it as your suit of armor. The more bars, the stronger it is.
Makes sense. Protecting the driver in case of a rollover.
Exactly. Then you have Schedule 1, which focuses on racing harnesses.
Harnesses.
Yeah.
To keep me strapped in tight.
Absolutely. Crucial for high-speed maneuvers, and the details matter. The brand, the buckle type, even the mounting points, it's all covered in the schedule.
Wow, I didn't realize there was so much to it.
Safety is all about the details. Then we've got Schedule D. This one's all about your safety apparel, your suit, helmet, gloves, the works.
So no cutting corners there, even if I'm driving a classic beauty.
Exactly. Everyone is held to the same high standards when it comes to driver apparel. No exceptions for classic cars.
That's reassuring. So mandatory safety gear covered. Anything else I should consider?
Well, a few extras can make your life easier and safer on the track. A water bottle, for instance,
Staying hydrated is always a good idea.
especially on a hot day at the track. And a receiver is another worthwhile investment.
A what?
A receiver. It's a one-directional radio. Lets you hear communication from race control.
Ah, so you can get updates on track conditions or any incidents.
Exactly. Helps you stay informed and make smart decisions during the race.
Sounds pretty handy. Okay, so I've got my car prepped, my license, my safety gear. How do I actually become part of this Group S community?
It's easier than you think. Group S Racing Australia uses the Stack Team app.
Ah, technology to the rescue.
Hmm.
So I download the app, sign up, and I'm in.
Pretty much. Pay your membership fee and you're officially part of the Group S family.
I love it. Okay, so now I'm officially part of the club. Take me to race weekend. I'm ready for the action.
All right, but hold your horses for a second. Before you hit the track, there are a few pre-weekend tasks to check off.
Okay, what needs to be done?
First, make sure your event entry is confirmed. Sounds obvious, but you'd be surprised how many people forget this.
Double check. Got it. What else?
Read through the supplementary regulations.
Supplementary regulations.
Yeah, the event organizer provides them. They have all the specific details for that particular event. Track rules, schedule changes, anything unique you need to know.
So it's like studying for a test.
You could say that. And of course, make sure your car is in tip-top shape. The racetrack is not the place for last-minute repairs.
No breakdowns on race day. Got it.
Okay, so you arrive at the track. The atmosphere is electric. Everyone's prepping their cars. Drivers are catching up. You can feel the excitement in the air.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
So what happens first?
You'll check in at documentation, present your logbook and membership card, and then attend the mandatory driver's briefing.
The driver's briefing. What happens there?
They go over all the track rules, safety procedures, any specific instructions for the event. It's also a chance to ask questions.
Good opportunity to clear up any confusion.
And if you're on a provisional license, don't forget to hand it over to race control.
They're keeping an eye on us newbies, huh?
Exactly. They'll be observing your driving and eventually endorse your license for a full upgrade. Just remember to pick it up at the end of the weekend.
I wouldn't want to leave that behind. So what's the typical race weekend schedule?
For a 2-day historic race meeting, it usually goes like this. Qualifying on Saturday morning, a race in the afternoon, then 2 more races on Sunday.
Sounds like a jam-packed weekend of racing. What happens after each race?
After each race, you do a cool-down lap and head back to your garage or marquee.
Time to catch your breath.
Exactly. And remember, always be mindful of your speed in the paddock. Safety first, even when you're not racing.
Good reminder. So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive on race weekends, what's the most important thing for listeners to remember?
Have fun. Historic racing is about enjoying the camaraderie and respecting your fellow competitors. No contact, just pure sportsmanship.
Well said. Okay, next up, qualifying and race starts. I'm ready to feel the adrenaline.
Let's go. So qualifying in Group S, it's a bit different.
Different how?
Your starting grid position, it's actually determined by your fastest recorded lap times from previous events.
Oh, interesting. So your performance throughout the season carries over. You
Yeah.
can't just slack off and hope to make up for it on race day.
Exactly. It adds a whole new layer of strategy. And then there's the marshalling procedure, what we call the dummy grid.
Dummy grid, what's that all about?
Well, you line up according to those predetermined times. Engines are revving. You're just waiting for the signal to go.
I can imagine the tension. So what happens next?
The grid marshals, they give a 1-minute warning.
1 minute. Time to focus.
Exactly. Usually with a board or maybe a whistle, then it's go time.
All right, so those qualifying laps. Any advice for someone who wants to nail those?
Yeah, well, first things first, warm up those tires and brakes. Got to get them up to temp before you push for your fastest lap.
Right, cold tires, no grip.
Exactly. And spacing is key. Maintain at least 5 car lengths behind the car in front.
Safety first.
Always. And it's good etiquette not to overtake on that opening lap unless the car ahead has a mechanical issue or waves you past.
Right. Give everyone a fair shot at setting a clean lap time.
Okay, now what about this Group S racing code of conduct I keep hearing about? Oh yeah, the code of conduct. It's all about sportsmanship, safe driving. It lays the foundation for the whole category.
So give me some examples. What are some of the key principles that make up this code of conduct?
Well, one of the big ones is racing room,
Racing room.
meaning giving your fellow competitors space on the track. Don't force anyone off the racing line or into a dangerous position.
So it's not a demolition derby out there.
No, no, no. It's about respect and strategic driving.
Got it. So no bumping and grinding.
Right. And blocking, that's generally frowned upon as well.
Blocking, what does that mean?
Weaving back and forth to prevent someone from passing? It's considered unsportsmanlike, and frankly, it can lead to some nasty collisions.
So no weaving. But what about defending your position? Surely drivers are allowed to do that, right?
Of course, defending is part of the game. In the closing stages of a race, a single-move defensive maneuver is usually okay, but it's all about finding that balance between aggressive driving and respect for your fellow competitors.
A bit of tactical maneuvering is allowed, but nothing too extreme. What about overtaking?
Overtaking, that's a crucial one. It's exhilarating, but it needs to be done with finesse. For example, when overtaking at corners, you need to make sure you have your car under control, provide adequate racing room.
Right, no dive bombing into corners.
Exactly, and lapping slower cars. That requires a bit more communication, especially from the faster car.
Make sure they know you're coming.
Exactly. Give them plenty of warning and make the pass safe and predictable. And the slower car, they should use their mirrors, avoid any intentional blocking.
Teamwork, even in a competition. Okay, so we've covered the code of conduct. Now, what happens when things don't go to plan? Mechanical issues, safety car restarts, maybe even...
Or fires.
Yeah. Let's talk about those less than ideal situations. What should a driver do if their car starts acting up during a race?
Safety first. Get off the track as quickly and safely as possible.
So find a safe spot, away from the racing line.
Exactly. And if you're leaking fluids, do not continue driving. Even if you miss the pit entry or the track exit, it's crucial to stop immediately.
Leaking fluids are a major hazard.
Absolutely. They can create a very dangerous situation for everyone on the track.
Okay, now safety car restarts. Those always look intense. What's the procedure for those?
Okay, so you see those safety car boards come out. Immediately reduce your speed. Maintain a safe distance behind the car in front, no more than 5 car lengths.
Controlled deceleration, no sudden braking.
Right. The safety car leads the pack at a controlled pace, and you hold your position. Single file, no overlapping until you cross the control line.
And then?
Then it's racing time again.
Okay, now the one we all hope to avoid, car fires. Have there been any recent incidents that we can learn from?
Well, just this year at Phillip Island, there was an incident that really highlights the importance of preparedness.
Okay, what happened?
A car caught fire. Fortunately, the driver was well prepared. He had an up-to-date fire extinguisher and knew how to use it quickly.
That's crucial in those situations.
Absolutely. Pulled off the track safely, considering the safety of everyone around.
So having a good fire extinguisher is paramount. Anything else we can learn from this?
Practice makes perfect. Practice exiting your car with all your safety gear on. Aim for under 10 seconds.
10 seconds. Wow. It really could be life-saving. What about the flag marshals? Are they equipped to handle a fire?
Flag marshals play a vital role, but they might not be able to provide immediate assistance in a fire, especially if the track is hot.
So self-reliance is key in those first moments.
Exactly. Being prepared, knowing your equipment, thinking fast, those are the things that can make all the difference.
Okay, we've covered safety, but let's move on to something a bit more hands-on. Car modifications and tuning. Because it's one thing to have a classic sports car. It's another to transform it into a real performance machine.
You're absolutely right. Modifications and tuning, that's where the history and performance of Group S really come together. It's about taking those classic cars and enhancing their original character while pushing the limits, all within a framework of regulations.
So it's not just a free-for-all. There are rules to ensure a level playing field.
Absolutely. The rules are there to make sure the competition is based on driving skill, not just who has the most heavily modified car. And the allowed modifications are generally focused on improving safety, reliability, handling, all while preserving the car's original engine capacity and its overall appearance.
So you can't just swap in a modern V8 engine.
No, 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 no. That would defeat the purpose.
What advice would you give to someone new to this world of car modifications and tuning? Where do they even start?
Well, I'd say start with a solid foundation. Choose a car that's in good mechanical condition, one that you're genuinely passionate about, and then do your research. Talk to experienced Group S racers, mechanics. Learn the ropes gradually.
So find a mentor.
Mentorship is invaluable in this sport, and the Group S community is incredibly welcoming and supportive. You'll find people willing to share their knowledge.
That's great to hear. As we wrap up this segment on car modifications and tuning, What's the key takeaway for our listeners?
It's all about enhancing the original character and
This has
performance
been
of
an
these cars,
amazing
but doing
deep
so
dive
within
into the
the
world
rules.
of Group S
It's
racing.
a balance.
It has. It's
But
a
when
unique...
it's done right, it creates a really remarkable racing experience.
I can just imagine those